going to go through a pile of information. Don't feel like you need to rapid fire take notes. I'm going to send a follow-up email here in the next day or two with all of these resources, all the links, and of course, feel free to reach out to me through email at any time that you need support. I'm going to share this screen over here for you guys. So hopefully at the bare minimum, we're all familiar with the Green Schools portal. You should see these reused tires here at the top. It says, welcome to Michigan Green Schools. It is linked on the State of Michigan Green Schools page as well. You just scroll down and click that go to the portal button, and that will take you here. This is where all of the information is housed. I really like to refer any new schools or parents or community partners that are interested in doing this work to the website. It's all here. But if they do have very specific questions, you're certainly encouraged to walk them through that, whether it's application support or if they're just not sure what it takes to be a green school. This is a really good place to refer to them. So on the home page here, I just wanted to point out, if you are not familiar with the timeline, that is here to reference. We just had our Green Schools kickoff event at the end of October. It was great, 2 hours chock full of community partners and schools that are doing this work. I was a little hesitant when I realized that our hybrid event moved to strictly virtual, and trying to do 2 full hours online might be too much, but I've gotten a lot of feedback that the 2 hours just flew by. So if you did not have the opportunity to attend, or you want to show your schools in your area what community partners they could be working with, that recording is linked right here on the webinar recording link there. It takes you out to a YouTube video that you can reference. Coming up, we have our deadline for approving other green activities. This is completely in your space. So if you are comfortable with the activities that are being proposed, it falls under the category that makes most sense. Go ahead and give them the A-OK to include that on their application this year. If you are like me, that December 1st deadline is pretty fluid. So if you're comfortable with still taking other green activities up until the application.
Hold on 1 second.
That's totally fine for me. I'm going to mute Kevin here. There we go. So we have that December 1st deadline. Up to you if you want to be flexible with that one. Sometimes we'll have schools that don't hear about the program right away, and they have an alternative activity that they want to include. So that's totally up to you as the county coordinator if you want to accept that. The online portal will open January 1st, just like it always does. This year, our date is March 8th that it will close. It's always the Sunday concluding the Michigan Science Teacher Association conference. So that's going to be Sunday, March 8th this year. This is insider information. Please do not share with your schools, but if there are outstanding circumstances or tech issues or something's going on, we do leave the application open for 1 additional week, but that's it. We close it that Friday concluding, and that's the end for the cycle. And the reason for that is you all have the deadline to have your applications reviewed. If there's any issues and you need to go back and forth with the teacher and modify it, all final approvals need to be concluded by April 1st. And so it's a really tight turnaround to do that. So that's why we're pretty strict on that March 8th. And if there's a special circumstance by request, they can fill it out by that Friday. We try to get any award materials out to you if you request them specifically as the county coordinator because you're doing a very special local celebration, or into the hands of the schools themselves in time for Earth Day. So we're really encouraging that Earth Day activities take place in our local spaces, and so that's our goal there. We also have 2 programs. I need to add that on our timeline. We have for our K through 5, we have our poster contest for Earth Day, and for 6 through 12, we have our Environmental Service Award. So anything that they're working on in terms of green schools, they can be also nominated for our ESA. So I just wanted to throw a little plug for that. If you don't know about that program, let me know. We have links to our website, and that's a really good program to nominate an individual student, a group, or a class themselves for that award. And then in person at a statewide level, we celebrate all of our green schools in addition to any students, again, 6th through 12th grade that is engaged in sustainability work. And so that's an in-person event for free. It's on the campus of Michigan State University, and that's going to be on May 8th of 2026. Scrolling down on the main page here, as you know, we have our interactive map where you can see who has been certified throughout the past school year. We have quite the green band here. I like to showcase this. Over 60% is in our Tri-County area. We have a nice band going along the West Coast through the center. And I really like to highlight that the UP doubled their certified schools this past school year. So we're going to work hard to keep filling the gaps in those gray areas of the map. I'm really excited for our team here. We've had some changeovers for our county coordinators this year. So a huge thank you to everybody that has left their positions. And again, a huge thank you to everybody that is joining us fresh for this school year. Scrolling further on the homepage, I really wanted to show this important information section. So since our online application is only open for the 2 months, we don't have the ability to allow schools to get in there and track their information as they're doing it. So in lieu of having a login, we actually have a Google Doc that they can make a copy of, keep in their own Google Drive, and document what they're doing as they go through the school year. I highly, highly stress that this gets pushed towards the schools to be documenting. Not only does it make it easier to track, so they're not trying to complete their application in one sitting, but they can also use any activities year to year. As long as they're doing that work each school year, they can include it in their application from year to year. When they get into the online portal to submit their application in January through March, they can then just simply copy paste from that Google Doc into the application and make it real streamlined. So really stress to your teachers in your counties that the Google Doc is where it's at. Other points on the website, I want to get into our our coordinator certification side of things. So everyone had to go through this initially to request an account. If you are brand new this year, I think our most recent 2 had to fill out the new form. And so what you're seeing now when you fill out this form, in addition to asking who you are and what email, we're also asking information like, what org are you from? What's your title or role? Why are you doing the role? Why are you serving in the role of Green Schools Coordinator? How is your role related to environmental education? We're also looking for a link to your website and a headshot. Now, the reason for this is we've had a lot of schools that ask, well, who is my county coordinator? And they feel a little funny reaching out to some random name with an email. And so if you are already a county coordinator and you did not fill out this type of a form when you requested your hub account, you do not need to redo it. Instead, I'm going to send you in our follow-up email just a Google form, and it's going to capture the same information. And the goal here is to create on the map something that looks a little bit more like this. So you'll click into your county. When they click on the person, the tile will open, and instead of it just having your name and your email address, it will have a picture of you, who you are, where you work, what your role is, and then a brief description. It does not have to be this lengthy at all. Just a couple sentences on what it is that you do so that our schools feel a little bit more comfortable reaching out to you. And that will be on our map on the home page. So right now when they click in, all they're seeing is a card with the county, the name, and the email. So this card will then look like what I just showed you with the photo and the other information. So that'll be sent to you guys. Don't worry about it right now. I'll send it to you in an email, and hopefully we can try to get those in the next couple of weeks so I can get that to our GIS team to update the map layer. All right, next thing on our list is our shared Google Drive. So this is something that was shared with you last year. I will send you a copy of this again or link to this again, but I did want to highlight a couple items that you all have been requesting so that when you are going out to your schools, doing some Green Schools promotions and outreach, here are some canned materials that you can just go ahead and work with. You don't have to start from zero. So the first thing I wanted to show to you is our slides. So these have been updated since last year. In addition to going over a program overview for Green Schools, I also have a couple slides about Eagle. Sometimes that's still an unknown organization to folks. I also have some notes down here for you as well. So if it's not very familiar to you either, you know how to answer some questions and what to say. I also have our Eagle Classroom, which is our parent program. Michigan Green Schools falls under Eagle Classroom. And this is where we have our resource lending station, our student summit, our Earth Day materials, and also those MEEKS lessons, which are the Michigan aligned curriculum activities for 3rd through 12th grade. So all that information is there as well for you to showcase if you have the opportunity to. This slideshow goes through all of the details. It has the map from the past year. It has all 4 categories with the activities they're working through. It also shows how to use that Google Doc draft of your application. It has some helper text in these green backed boxes to show you some frequently asked questions like your administrator is going to be included, but they don't have to have prior approval like they did before. So these are all accessible to you. Feel free to make a copy, pull whatever slides make the most sense for you to use if you're ever in a space where you can promote Green Schools. If you don't have that much time and you just want a single info slide to maybe throw at the end of a slideshow that you're doing in your spaces, I also have made a new 1-slide info card. So again, feel free to use this wherever it makes the most sense for you. I've got a couple links to the portal, the Google Doc, and then the activity page, as well as the county coordinator list and the Green Schools email for me. All right, next up in our pile of resources, there's some things in there that I've shown you guys before, so I'll wait until the 4:30 time to show our new friends, but feel free to peruse the Google Drive in your time, things like community partner outreach, survey questions, and things like that. But the newest item that I'm really excited to share with you is the justification piece. So a lot of times we get schools that are doing this work and they say, well, what's the point? Why do we have to get certified, or why should we be a green school? And so I have this laid out for a variety of reasons, including the benefits of being a green school, the importance of this type of work, and how we can make a case for this work. So starting with the benefits, you know, we have the tangible resources like the flag, the cling, and the certificate. We also have the public recognition right on the website with the pin on the map. And by request, schools can actually get a copy of our logo to display digitally on their school website. So if they want to really brag that this is a culture of sustainability at their school, they can post that on their school site as well. In addition to sometimes being featured in our Eagle communications and marketing materials as well. Sometimes we'll push out my environment articles. I've been working on promoting schools doing the work in our newsletter and so on. So those are just some of the like physical materials, just like our trophies and medals for winning the basketball game. We also have opportunities like networking and connecting to our resources. So you all are resources valuable to your local schools. And so if you're able to connect them with community partners or resources, perhaps potential funding, we also have that partner sheet that I was mentioning before. I'm going to jump to that just for a second. So as schools are filling, or as community partners are filling out the how can they support survey, this is automatically populating into this spreadsheet. And so this will be shared with you guys soon. Basically what I'm showing here is where is your region compared to the MySTEM network, compared to the ISDs. You can take a look, all these numbers across the bottom are related to the MySTEM network region. Or if they are a statewide community partner. So when you click in, maybe you have a school that's asking for funding opportunities. So you can do a Control F search for funding and see on this page alone, 3 hits came up. So statewide funding opportunities can come from Great Lakes Renewable Energy or Michigan Propane and Gas Association. I'm working on finalizing the formatting of this for you all to clean it up a little bit, but this will be something that you all can access. If you are only looking for your area, you would click on the applicable MySTEM region that your county falls in. Other benefits to being a green school that we can share with our schools, really thinking about opportunities that teachers can learn and have access to resources. We just created a memo of understanding with the Michigan Alliance for Environmental and Outdoor Education, or MAEO, and we launched a My Green Schools announcements page. So if you haven't seen it, it's over on MAEO's website under their helpful resources. And so if you are someone that offers a professional development opportunity, or there's an event, or maybe there's a lesson that you want to showcase, if it's relevant to the Michigan Green Schools program, this is something that I can post on this page for you all. So most recently we have, We Reuse is an organization in Southeast Michigan, and they received a grant to help with schools transitioning to the stainless steel trays as opposed to styrofoam. And so they've got this grant to subset some of the costs, or offset some of the costs, of the schools only have to pay $2 for these trays. That's a really unique opportunity that I showcased on here. So something that green schools can definitely be directed towards, and even you all, if you have things that you want to post or you're looking for ideas. A few more things to share with schools for why they should be a green school. We have other ways to engage. So beyond our county coordinators, we also have this new program called the Michigan Green School Ambassadors. We meet once a month. And so if you're someone that wants to give back, or maybe mentor a new school, that's something that we're working on with the ambassadors group. We also have statewide student leadership through our Miles group. So this is the Michigan Youth Leaders for Environmental Stewardship. They started as a 4-H club in the Novi area, and they have now expanded to be statewide. They're really excited about doing outreach for Michigan Green Schools. They have an interest form for high school students. They've also made their own environmental action toolkit for projects and activities that align with Michigan Green School activities that you can include on your application. So there's just a lot of networking going on across the state with this work. That's in addition to our existing newsletters, both for Green Schools and Eagle Classroom. And then what I'm really excited to share, really soon we're going to have launched, it's in our web development team, we have the My Green School Guide. So if schools are starting from zero and they really aren't sure where to get started, this toolkit's really going to be helpful for them to build their team, right? Who are those people in the school that they don't normally think of to engage? So talking about business managers, your facilities management folks, who do you need to make sure is on board with what you're doing, so that if you put a pollinator garden in, your lawn crew isn't mowing it right over as soon as the flowers start going off. So that team building tool is a really nice piece to help frame a student's mind around who they should be talking to. There's also a school building environmental assessment that is looking at 4 areas, including grounds and infrastructure, operations and procurement, health and well-being, and academics and engagement. So really getting into the details, taking the time to go around the school and do this audit. The goal here is really for the students to be able to do this work with limited guidance from the teacher or their sponsor for their club. So this toolkit is going to be available. It's going to also have projects and funding resources along with an action plan, very tailored towards green school application requirements. So that'll be out soon. I'll make sure to send you guys an email when that is live on the website. Okay, jumping down to the importance of this work, we really like the Children in Nature Network infographics. They're really simple things that you can add into any PowerPoints or presentations that you might be doing. If you're trying to help teachers in your area, make the case for their administrator. These are peer-reviewed, cited infographics, pieces of information that help to show, how does this work help our kids get healthier, help our kids be happier, smarter, care for the environment, have increased self-esteem, and so on. So those are some resources that you all can link out to or review for your own making the case. And then we also have a few more, the U.S. Green Building Council, Benefits of Nature, again with Children in Nature Network, and so on. So this is a working document. If you all have a favorite and you want to add that to the list, feel free to email me. I would love to generate more, and we will eventually be getting some of this into our pubs team so that we can have it branded for Michigan Green Schools as well. But I wanted to get this information out to you all as soon as I could, so that you can start using this language with your schools. All right. Next up, I wanted to share just a quick update on some of your application materials. So you all have been sharing feedback with how the review process has been going. I greatly appreciate it. I also want to share, we can try to troubleshoot and fix as much as we can. Right now we're using the best program that we're allowed to at the state. Our application goes through ArcGIS or Survey 123 forms. We have a great GIS team that works with us in getting this program application going each year. They help with the hub site and so on. So, certainly, please continue to share that feedback. A few of those pieces have been implemented into our updates for this year, particularly thinking about the filter situation on our application. So as a quick reminder for everyone, when you're on the Michigan Green Schools hub site, on the coordinator certification tab, you'll scroll down to the window box, log in, and once you've logged in, you can either be looking at applications in this window or you can open it in a new window so you have the whole screen to be looking at. Last year, we had an issue with the filters. And so if you are a county coordinator that's looking at 40, 50, 60 applications, it was real clunky for you to be able to work on it in chunks. And so what we've done is made all applications by default not approved. And so when you go in to look at them, you should be able to now go to your name. You'll see some tests in here. So right now there's 2 for me. If it's vacant, that's me that's going to be reviewing those. And so when those load in, if there's one that I've already approved and I want to go back and look at it for one reason or another, now you'll see that 1 out of 2 disappeared because one of them has been approved. If I go to not yet approved, here's my last application that I need to work through. So the filter should be working for you this year so that you don't have to do the work of double checking your own list to see those that have been approved for you. We also have a request or had a request that your auto emails. So every time a school submits an application for your area, you are sent an email that says, hey, you have work to do. This is the school that applied. But you did not get the Word document copy of their application until the very end when you've already done the work of going through and verifying their activities. Someone had a really great idea that you actually get the Word document from the initial draft. That way you can look at their application in one pane. You don't have to go through and click each individual activity to review what they have submitted. So that was a great idea. I really appreciated that. You all should be CC'd on those application initial submissions, and so you will get that Word document as well. One more piece with that, the Word document that you all were receiving simply just said the application name. It didn't say what building it was for. So that has also been updated. So you should be able to save those files and reference them a lot faster without having to look up who that would be by opening the file. We additionally had some issues with the automatic emails coming through. There was a Power Automate flow issue that's beyond my pay grade. I don't really know what all of that means, but there was an issue going on. Some schools were including multiple email addresses in the building coordinator or the administrator email line. And in the past, we had been welcoming to that, but we're determining that some of those flow issues from last year was because of multiple emails being added. So what we're encouraging this year is that only one email address is put into an email box. So only one building coordinator, only one administrator. If the school wants to forward that information on to somebody else in their building after the auto email comes through, that is totally fine for them to do. But that should also clear up some of our flow issues of you all not being CC'd on your final approval emails. Let me just check my list. I think that was everything for our applications. Okay, the next update that I have is our Filter First law. So I don't know if you all are aware, but our Filter First law is for refillable water bottle filling stations. That in the past has been allowed on our Michigan Green Schools applications because it was encouraging, using less single-use plastic water bottles and encouraging the schools to use refillable water bottles. Because that is now a law starting in 2026, this is the last year we're going to allow that as an activity on the Michigan Green Schools application. Michigan Green Schools activities are for going above and beyond. Since the Filter First law makes that activity the bare minimum, just being in compliance, we're not going to allow that on applications starting in the 26-27 school year. Now, here's a workaround. If schools are adding signage to their bottle filling station, maybe they're promoting the purpose of it or the benefit of it, or maybe they're advertising how many plastic water bottles they saved by having these bottle filling stations, they could include that activity in their application. So I just wanted to make that clear. I'll send an email reminder to you all to make sure you know that too. But if you can start spreading the word, if you know there's schools in your area that like to include the bottle filling station on their application each year, please start spreading the word that this is the last year that they will be able to do that. The last thing I had for everyone, I just wanted to say thank you to those that are new to the game. Also, I know you're not on the call, but those that have exited the role and named a successor, that makes my life so much easier to be able to say, okay, welcome new person, welcome Meg. Tracy did a great job with you, right? So if you do know that things are coming up in your role, if there is a capacity issue or you're moving on from your space, if you have a heads up or you're able to share that, it's really helpful for me to know as these county coordinator roles are being transitioned into and out of. And if you do have a successor, it would be really greatly appreciated, even if it's just a suggestion. Right now, we have about 13 counties that have vacancies. So if you do know someone, I'll include that in my email follow-up. If you do know someone that could support Green Schools in those spaces, please let me know. And with that, before we get into our new county coordinator orientation at 4:30, we have a couple minutes if people have questions. Or if I'm missing anything, or you're hoping to get any other resource. All right. Well, if a question does pop up, feel free to put it in the chat, or you know me, I'm pretty informal with presentations. So you can also unmute yourself and ask in the moment as well. With that, if you are a returning coordinator and you're good to go, feel free to take off. You are also certainly welcome to stay on for the review of the portal and the expectations as a county coordinator. All right, with that, I see I've got Meg and is it Avril? April, okay. And Krista, you all are new. Bye, Kevin, thank you. So again, I'm gonna go over just expectations as a Green School coordinator, get a little bit further into the resources that I have and the review portal. This is a lot of information in just an hour's time, so this recording will be available. You can go back and review, but again, interrupt me if there's a specific question because I also start getting into it and go really fast sometimes. So I'm going to share my screen again. And we'll go back into the Green School portal. Okay. I guess before I really get into it, I am curious from the three of you, like how comfortable, how confident are you about just in general what the Michigan Green Schools program is?
Thumbs up.
Awesome.
Yeah, same. Like I'm familiar with Green Schools. I use Survey 123 all the time, so I feel good about this.
Wonderful.
I feel comfortable with the concept, but maybe not the logistics and things like the surveys and applications and things like that. Yeah. But I feel like it looks pretty self-explanatory and intuitive, so I'm not too worried, but appreciate some guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, thank you for that. That tells me how much detail to go into. So The program is open to all private and public schools, pre-K through 12 across the entire state. And the goal really is just to celebrate and recognize those schools that are doing environmental education and stewardship in their school or community. Each school building is going to separately apply to earn their certification. And that is because the Green Schools program is written into the law from 2006. And then modified in 2010. If you ever get bored and want to go read about it, it's on the About tab. You can take a look at Public Act 146 that initially started it all, and then the update Public Act 301 of 2010. It's all in there, but it's basically why the program looks the way it does with the 4 specific categories and the activities that fall under it. If you are in need of reviewing what those activities are, our third tab is the Green Activities information. And so we're seeing that there are 3 tier levels is dependent on how many activities are being completed. The base requirement is 10, and they do have to complete at least 2 activities under each of the 4 categories. And that's because we want a well-rounded application. These activities are very descriptive and also kind of vague at the same time. So what I really recommend to schools that are applying and even the county coordinators that are reviewing these, when it comes down to making decisions of does that count to fulfill that activity, it's really up to you, right? Use your best judgment. If it seems right, if they're wordsmithing it just right, the description makes sense, have them include it there. What's really nice about the 2010 update is it also came with this ending for each of the 4 categories. So they can include an other green activity. Because this is from 15 years ago, there are a variety of things that schools can be doing and are doing that can fulfill their green school requirement. If they already have it going on and they know what they're doing, they just shoot you an email and they say, hey, can I include this? And you say, yeah, sounds great. And you give them the go ahead to include it. If you're not really sure about the description, or maybe you need a little bit more, feel free to go back and forth with them, have a little conversation about what that might be. But that's up to you. Again, it's completely your discretion as the county coordinator. You're the one making the decision. With that being said, we also are trying to not gatekeep and keep people out and be exclusive. We really want to encourage them to bolster their work and improve their descriptions so that we can have as many certified schools as possible. So there might be some applications where you get paragraphs of information for the description. You might get some applications where they check the box and write 2 words. If you're not comfortable with the 2 words as enough of a justification, you'll just send them an email and say, could you give me a little bit more on this description? And then you'll have the ability to go in there. I'll show you in just a moment how you'll do that. If you have schools that aren't sure where to get started, or they want to, maybe they're already doing 10 and they want some ideas on what else they could be doing, we did publish a list of example activities from prior applications. So these are other green activities that coordinators have approved in the past under each of the 4 categories. These are not pre-approved at this point, right? Schools would still have to communicate with you and ask if they could use these on their application. But if you just need some general ideas, this document is available to everyone to check out as well. It is one of my goals down the road to have a list of pre-approved other green activities that the full statewide county coordinators approve on. We just aren't quite there yet. All right, going back to our portal here. So that's there. You might get some questions about the Green Ribbon School program. We do host the Green Ribbon School information on our page. Leanne Weber, who is our Michigan Department of Education science consultant for the state, she is the one that oversees this program and makes the recommendations. Unfortunately, as we all know, the U.S. Department of Education portal did not open this year. And so she decided to use all of the requirements for that and make a Michigan Green Ribbon School program. So you might get some confusion from schools. What's the difference? If they have not participated in Michigan Green Schools before, it's not a requirement as a prerequisite to Green Ribbon. However, they might want to start with Green Schools. Michigan Green Schools is a bit different. It's a little easier to achieve those activity requirements. Green Ribbon Schools is going to be more for tracking progress over time. And it's also across 3 pillars with a variety of elements, looking at environmental impacts, health and wellness, and environmental and sustainability education. So whole nother rabbit hole to get down to on a different day. But that is where you can direct them if they are interested in that other program. All right. So when you are getting your applications, you all have already gone through requesting your account. If you ever have an issue with getting in, I have a list of your username. If you forget your password, you're actually going to go through the portal itself and do a forgot password request. That'll go through ArcGIS. It's not our team that resets your password for you. So just go through that process and you should get a reset password link from ArcGIS. Once you're in, you'll scroll down to this yellow box on the window. And again, you can either review your applications right here on the page, or if you want a bigger screen, you can click to open it in a larger window. And we'll just go over there because I already have it open. So when you log in, it's going to start with a blank slate like this. And you're going to want to go to the top right. You're going to click open this drop down. Now you'll notice right now that Micah and myself are the only ones listed here. That is because it only generates your county coordinator name if an application has been submitted for your county. So right now, Meg, you're not in here because nobody tested a space for Northeast Michigan. So we'll go into the vacant ones. We'll pretend it says Sam up here. So you'll know you're in the right space. Oh, stop that. Sometimes this will happen. I used to like to tell my high school students, technology is dumb. You just have to manipulate it to do what you want. Okay, let's try again. So we'll go into vacant. You can see at the top that you have 2 applications submitted that you'll need to review. You can also see in the red text, the application is for vacant, which is me. So you'll want to make sure your name is populated there. And then it'll tell you the name of the school that you're reviewing for. This is just a test, typing random stuff in here. So you'll click on these little drop downs. So there's 3 sections that they are seeing when they submit their application. A 4th section populates when you all are doing your approval. So they don't see this county coordinator approval section until they get their final approval. So when you go into the school information, you'll see they should have typed in their address. It generates a PIN, including the lat and long. This is the information from our long list of data on the spreadsheet that I will send to our GIS team to get all of those nice pins on the map next spring. So sometimes you'll see, if you feel confident with this, if you see a random pin over here in Europe, feel free and fix this. You can modify everything on the application, so you can go in and update their address if need be. I'm not sure what the issue is with the pins sometimes being in a random place. Again, technology. So you'll see the school name. This sometimes we have schools that have misspellings or they're missing their capitalizations. Again, just it's a lot of data to look at in the end to make sure that our certificates are generated correctly and so on. So if you see a typo or a capitalization, I strongly encourage you to go in here and fix it. For me, actually, this is kind of a selfish request. If you can fix any information that you see is inaccurate, that would be really helpful. This is literally, I take the information from the spreadsheets that I download, and that's how our certificates are generated for the schools, in addition to our mailing labels to send the information out to. So they have their school name, we're asking their district. As soon as they type their address in, it will automatically populate the county that they are falling under. I don't believe any of the 3 of you have this issue. There is like 1 or 2 schools that's on the border of the county line. So their technical, physical address is for one county, but they're part of the other ISD, so they switch their county. That's why this is something that they can actually fix if they want to, but they really shouldn't be unless they're those 1 or 2 special schools. It will also automatically populate the city. Again, that should not be changed unless they absolutely need to. There's a drop down for their school type. Sometimes there's an other, I'm not really sure what they're putting in there. These are really only the types of schools that we can accept. Sometimes we'll have requests from homeschools to be approved, and we just don't have the ability to approve people's homes. So it really needs to be a school building that we're doing certification for. The building coordinator is anybody at the building that is taking the lead on this application. So typically it's a school teacher. Normally it's like the biology or the environmental science teacher. Occasionally we'll have a parent that's leading the way, which is totally fine. It's really up to the school building who they want to be taking the charge there. We've also been trying to encourage some high school students, if they are the environmental club and they're doing a lot of this work themselves, there's no reason they can't be the ones to submit this application as well. So they'll include their name and their email address. This is the box here, the building coordinator and administrators email boxes that we were having a small issue with folks putting in multiple email addresses. What's going to happen as soon as they hit submit on their application, it's going to automatically send an email to them that says, hey, thank you for submitting your application. Here's the next steps on your county coordinator's end, and so on. When that email gets sent, it's pulling from this box and this box. And so if they have multiple emails in here, for whatever reason, it was just getting hung up in the system and the flow wasn't working. And so then nobody was getting the email. So we're really encouraging folks to only put one email. Then they can forward that auto email when they receive it to their building and administrators' emails. Green Schools applications used to require an administrator's sign off. We have reduced that hurdle for folks. And so now we just ask for their name and email. They are getting CC'd on all these communications as they are automatically sent through the system when things are submitted. And sometimes it's fun. Sometimes administrators are saying, yeah, way to go. I know we're awesome. And then sometimes administrators had no idea and they are really excited and email with all of us in the moment. So pretty fun. The county coordinator's name and email is also auto-populated, and that is based on the Latin long and the county that is selected here. Okay, that is the first section. The second section is documenting all of their activities. So it just kind of goes through again, here's what it takes to be a green, emerald, or evergreen school. They have to do the selection. So depending on how many they counted, sometimes we'll have a school not count the right amount. And so you can actually back that right out of there, and that'll reset this drop down. That'll reset this drop down so you can pick green, emerald, or evergreen. So maybe they actually had 21, but they only had counted 19. So they were trying to say, we're an emerald school, but in reality, they're an evergreen. So you can back all of this information out, fix it to whatever it needs to be. Something you also want to keep an eye out for, as they are collapsed, right now you can see the 4 categories and how many they included in their application. So right now, according to this, we only have 2, 4, 6, 8 activities. That is not meeting the bare minimum. You have to have at least 10. So this school application actually is invalid and they wouldn't be able to be certified. So in this instance, I would reach out to them and just say, you didn't meet the minimum of 10. Is there anything else that you could include? Again, we don't want to just write out reject people. We definitely want to try to encourage them to document everything that they can so that they can reach certification. We might also have an instance where that number is inaccurate in terms of how they've included them on the drop down. So if you look, we open up this collapse section for the recycling category. When they are adding activities on their application, it's going to start with just 1. Every time they want to add a new activity, they'll hit this plus button. It should not allow them to submit the application without selecting an activity and putting the description, but we all know sometimes glitches happen. So I would just make sure you're going through each of the activities they have documented. It will tell you they get to select from the pre-written ones from the law. If it's an other green activity, they'll select other, and they'll put their description here. Again, this is completely accessible to you to modify however it makes sense. It's really up to you how detailed you want to get with this. Some county coordinators are like really on top of it and really want to make sure that things are classified the correct way. If it makes sense to you and you're okay with how they've done it, even though you could document it a different way, you can go ahead and approve them if you're okay with that. One other thing to note here, some schools, I was mentioning in the first portion of this webinar that they'll include paragraphs of information. Sometimes that means that they're including an entire project for one activity. They can break that up. So if they're only at 10 activities, but you're getting paragraphs for each of those descriptions, you might want to encourage them to break that into separate activities, and maybe they're going to reach Emerald or Evergreen status in their application. It certainly is one activity, not an entire unit or project. So for example, if they are doing a pollinator garden in their space, they could include pollinator garden as one activity. If they're doing any signage around it, that could be a second activity. If they had a guest speaker come in and talk to them about the benefit of native bees and pollinators, that could be a third activity around it. Maybe they had a parent night and now the kids are showing. So they can really stack these activities really fast if they are doing full projects, but definitely encourage them to spread them across multiple checkpoints here. One other thing you'll see in each of their activities, they have the option to include images. This is where we're pulling pictures for our promotional materials, our websites, our newsletters, and things like that. We're really looking for some high quality pictures, so encourage your schools as they're applying to drop them in, but of course they are optional. They are not required to include those. Okay, so each of the 4 categories look the same in terms of how you're looking at them, how you're documenting them. Again, up to your discretion if the description is robust enough for you. Then you'll get into the submission information section. We are working right now with our GIS team to perhaps add 2 more metric type questions in this section. So does your school, or approximately how many students were impacted by this work, and approximately how many adults, including your staff, your teachers, any community partners. So you might see this looks a little bit different when we get into the application. We're working on that right now. But in the meantime, what we have on here is a space for the school to include their mailing address. And again, this is for our mailing labels to get the award materials out to them. Schools are also eligible on their first year of certification and every 5 years after to receive a free Michigan Green School flag. Some people call it a banner. It's the 3-foot by 5-foot green and white flag that you'll see some schools hanging them on their flag poles. Some put them in their front entryway. Some have them in their classroom. It's really up to them. So they might be asking for a flag. Something I just want to put on your radar, schools, although they respond to this question, sometimes forget if they requested a flag or not. Sometimes they forget that it takes a little bit of time to process. We have to approve the applications, process all the materials, and get them mailed out. So if you do have schools asking, hey, did I request a flag? Am I getting a flag? You can see that information on their application here and let them know. The building coordinator also needs to sign and date, and then they hit the submit button. Now, when you're working on your approvals, you'll also see this 4th section. If you have notes that you want to provide to them that will be published on their final application, they'll get a Word document as an attachment in that auto-generated email, just so that they can keep that documentation over the years if they'd like. You will also be CC'd on that email, so it's not just in the portal. You'll actually be able to see a final Word document that you can download if you want to keep it for your records as well. If you wanted to put any notes, you're welcome to. That'll show up on that final attachment. All of your applications should by default say no. Nothing is sent to your schools for approval. No auto emails, no, hey, congrats, you've been approved. Nothing is sent until you hit yes, you sign, you date, and you hit the submit button. As soon as you hit that submit button and it says yes, then it's going to trigger that email to go out, and they'll be approved with that tier level that they have been approved for. If you are working in an application and you want to save your work, if you leave no, not finally approved, you can hit submit, and that'll save your progress without notifying the school of anything. If you want to come back to it, so maybe you've worked in there and you see there's a description that needs to be modified, you can, save your progress, email the school, go back and forth a little bit. Just don't hit yes until you are totally ready and they are completely finally certified. That's pretty much everything in the portal itself. For time frame for you all, if you're able to, we encourage you all to do some outreach and promotions of green schools in your counties or in your regions, but that is not a requirement. You didn't sign up to be the spokesperson for Michigan Green Schools. Of course, we really like it when you do that. But you know your time and capacity. So if you're able to, that's great. Feel free to use any of those resources from the Google Drive space that you'll be getting in an email shortly. If there are other things that you are just like, man, I really wish Sam would send this out, or I wish I had this type of material, just let me know. I'll add it to the list of things that I'm working on. I'm really hoping to get some better administrative outreach type things. We seem to see a lot of teachers being that one building champion, and then the program kind of goes by the wayside if they retire or move schools. So we want to try to get a little bit higher of a reach up the food chain, so to speak, so that the program is kind of instilled in their area. Let's see. Applications will be coming in starting in January. If you have an application that's been submitted for your space, you are welcome to go review it right then and there. You do not have to wait for the application portal to close. If you do want to wait and grade them in bulk, that's totally fine. Let me see. Krista, you're going to get I think she's been averaging about 15 to 20 applications a year. So you might want to chip away at them. Hopefully in Ottawa and in your whole region, Meg, I think you have the most counties. Hopefully we get some more green schools in those spaces. So again, just you make the decision on your time and capacity when you want to review those applications. The final deadline for all applications to be reviewed and finalized is April 1st. That way I have some time. If somebody misses one or there's a question about something, I can go through and troubleshoot that. If there is some data that needs to be cleaned up, that gives me time to do that as well, and then process so I can get the certificates generated, the window clings and the flags all in the mail. One more item I wanted to mention to you all, and then if you have questions, we have a couple minutes left. Local celebrations happen in the southern part of the state quite a bit. So Monroe County always does an Earth Day Expo for the whole county. During this expo, they have a whole celebratory session. They have their board of commissioners come in. They read off all of the green schools that achieved certification that year. They hang the banner behind the stage. It's really cool. So that's one place. Dan Rock is the current county coordinator there. I'm sure he'd be happy to share some ideas if you're interested in doing a local celebration in your space. The Detroit Zoo also hosts students for Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb County every year, which is really fun. They get to explore the zoo, but again, they have this recognition ceremony all together under a big tent. They've got banners with every category, or excuse me, every tier level and what schools reached that level. It's really fun. Whitney Callio is a good contact for that. She's our Oakland County coordinator. And then even in Macomb County itself, they have, in addition to the zoo visit, they have a breakfast that they've been doing since the very beginning. So really big deal in those areas. Also, again, up to your time and capacity, how many schools you have. If that's something you can maybe even partner with a school. We're working on Midland County right now to maybe do, in addition to their, it's their Go Green team and Midland Chemical Society. They all work together to do a big Earth Day Expo as well. I'm trying to work with our county coordinator there to see if we can do some sort of a mid-Michigan celebration. So if you've got ideas and want some help there, let me know. But on that note, if you do something like that and you want the award materials to go directly to you so that you can hand them out at that local celebration, let me know as soon as you know, and I'll make sure to box them up all for you. If you don't want them sent to you, they'll just go directly to the school themselves. That's the default. Okay, with that, I've been talking for a long time. What questions do you all have for me?
Thank you for all this information. And yes, I'm glad you're getting some water because you have been sharing a lot of very useful information. I just wrote down a couple questions. How would we know for the 5 years for the banner? Like, let's say they check it and we're reviewing, and we're like, I don't know, is that accurate? Are we
Yeah,
supposed to be
don't worry
checking
about that part for
Okay.
your end. I actually have a list of who, because we will get some schools that ask, and it's only been year 2. And so just because of the cost of it, it's not sustainable. We don't have very much funding for award materials. So that's kind of where we're at with that. Yeah, don't worry about it. I'll let you know, though, when I do send materials out. If there is a school that asked, but they just recently got one, so they're not going to get one, they'll get a little card in their award packet that says, hey, sorry, you just got one. You know, you can purchase one is the alternative. If they, like we just had a school, they hang their banner every day on the flagpole. It's so cute. But it's tattered, right? It's weathered. And so they wanted to buy one before their 5 years was up. So we just have an invoice generated. We are very much so in just the talks about this, but we're trying to also open up a store. So just like Mark Stevens does with Project Fish, if you go through that workshop, you get like a password protected login to a store. We're trying to do something similar to that with our certified green schools. So if they need a new flag, they can just go buy it and it goes to them. And maybe even some other swag materials, maybe stickers or whatever. I don't know. We're very, very much so in the preliminary stages of that. But in the interim, if you have a school that's like, I want one, but I'm not up for a free one, can I buy one? Just send them to me and I'll get an invoice for them.
Okay, great.
That's a good question.
And then another one is for the photos. If it's of any children, do we need to worry about waivers? Have you ever come across any issue?
That's up to them. So they need to know that when they go to submit it, it's on there that it's going to be used in Eagle Publications. So that's on the school to make sure any waivers are taken care of.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Another really good question.
And then I think I had, and then when applications come in, I know that I'll get an email generated. So I guess I could track it on my own, but will they be time stamped? So I know like, this one came in first, I should go to that one.
I don't believe they're time stamped in the portal. I suspect that they, you could see like the 1 out of the 2 or, 50 or whatever you get, dreams 50. So I suspect that they're cataloged that way as they come in. But really the timestamp is going to be on the email that you get.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah. That's okay. Thank you. That's all I have.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No problem. What else? What am I missing?
This may be a GIS thing, but I'm logged into the portal and it's just saying there's like a data source error right now. And I'm wondering, maybe it's just because I'm like a new coordinator, but I don't have that option to like choose myself as a coordinator like you had that drop down thing.
Yeah.
It's just saying data source error.
So there's one of 2 things that's going, well, there's one of 3 things that's going on. One, it's not working. But I think what's happening is because the application portal is not open quite yet, you all can't see anything. Are either of you on it? Can you see? Did you try to log in yet? I should have had another coordinator try. If you're able to, if you want to try to troubleshoot with Meg on the call real quick. The other issue that's happening is perhaps it's not generating because you don't have any applications for your area right now. Mm-hmm. That definitely is what will cause your name to not be available in the top right box. But for it to just say data error, that might be because the portal's not open. I'm curious what it says for either of you if you're getting in there. While you all are trying to get in there, I can look up your region too to see for a frame of reference of how many applications you had for your area. So Meg, last year across all the counties, Tracy only had 4 applications. Avril, you had, let's see, your Ottawa. That was Mike. So you had 3 applications. Although I do have a pulse on, there's a few more schools that have told me from Ottawa that they want to apply. So you should be seeing a few more in there. And then Krista for Washtenaw, you had, let's see, that was Annie. You had 17 last year. Working on some schools in Ypsi and Ann Arbor, hoping to get a few more in there as well. So just to give you a little idea of where we were at last year, hopefully we see those numbers go up a little bit, but maybe that helps your capacity and planning for review.
And I am signed in, and that same thing. I'm coming across that same issue, so it's probably
that's what
just
I'm
because
thinking.
there's no application in.
Yep, that's my suspicion.
Thanks for checking.
Yeah. Okay. Any other questions? Okay. Well, if anything comes up, feel free to email me anytime. You guys are on the priority list. I'm working through a backlog of email. I feel like I've been saying that for months at this point, but anytime a county coordinator emails me, it's like, I got to make sure to respond to them, make sure you all have what you need. So let me know anything. Yeah, with that, thank you very, very much, and good luck with everything. I just thought of one more thing, and then I'll let you go. Sometimes county coordinators aren't sure what schools are in their regions. I have recently received a spreadsheet of all of the private and public schools across the state. There's like 3,700 and some change. I'm working on running a filter to get them sorted by county for you. So if you want to do some outreach and you're just not sure what schools are out there, don't spend your time Googling it. I will get that out to you guys in the next couple of weeks. The unfortunate side is it doesn't include contact information. It's just the school name and city. So you need to do a little bit of digging there if you want. So again, not required as part of your expectations, but certainly welcome if you want to do a little outreach. Okay. Meg?
Thanks, Sam.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Yeah,
Thank
you too.
you.
Bye.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.